Hey guys, it's Base here, and I'm back with another episode of Love, Money, and Rock and Roll. I think that's what it was called, if I remember right. And I actually don't remember what happened last time, but I do. But let's just keep going. The morning came suddenly. Yesterday's tiredness seemed to have vanished as if by magic, even though I only managed to get 4 or 5 hours of sleep. I delightedly stretched and went to the kitchen. On the table lay a simple breakfast and a note. Nico, Nico-kun, see you in school. I imagined Himatsuma's displeased face and couldn't help but smile. It would be funny if it weren't so sad. She had a peculiar way to be upset with me. What if I did something awful? Would she make porridge instead of a three-course meal? On the other hand, it was all regrettable, but there were more important things to worry about now. Today I definitely had to talk to Kagome. I walked down the street, tossing up and catching a ripe red apple Himitsu left behind. It could just turn out to be my last food until the evening. Thoughtful I was walking through the school shore. Suddenly, joyful shouts coming from the pool reached my ears. Someone clearly was living a merrier life than me. Who was it, I wondered. I slowly headed to the fence and hid behind bushes. Splashing around in the pool was the parallel class. Oh! Nothing was exciting to it, and I was about to leave for the school building, but my eyes stopped on Ellie. Look at how hot she is. Damn. I'm pretty sure I'm going for Ellie. Ellie is my babe. Yeah, Ellie is my babe. She looked gracious, perhaps even aristocratic. Both in a school uniform, an informal gown, and in the swimsuit. Reflecting from the water, the flecks of sunlight played on her smooth skin. The wet hair fluttered in the wind, and she smiled. And the smile was so blinding, Ellie couldn't help but stood out among the rest of the girls. I wondered if beauty always comes complete with wealth and success. In any case, her life was most certainly simpler than mine. And it wasn't even about the events of the past several days. Ellie simply didn't have to worry about the future. And what about me? Was I going to finish school and go work for food? In another life, our positions could be switched. Although it could be that in this life too, there was her complete opposite, Kagome. Well, Ellie might have had a better look, but I caught myself thinking that I was comparing apples to oranges. Or rather, a girl wrapped in a gigantic puffer jacket in felt boots and with a thick wool kerchief on her head to a girl dressed in evening gown and a professional makeup on her face. Kagome. I really didn't have time to admire lustrous scenarios with beautiful girls. I was about to leave when Ellie suddenly looked right at me and froze for a second. She suddenly cried out and waved her hands at me. That's the last thing I needed. All of her classmates turned their heads in my direction. Now I was going to also be known as the school's pervert. Japan had it strict. Oh shit, Japan. Why you have it so strict? We don't like that strict shit, bro. Or maybe we do. I don't know. What next? I'd been a lieabout, been a hooligan, been a slagger, but never a pervert. Anyway, that wasn't the best time for ruminations. I crouched and broke into a runaway from the pool. Stopping only at the school's entrance, I looked behind only to see no pursuit. I was sure they couldn't see my face among the bushes, which meant it was too early to crown myself with the title of a pervert. It would take some work yet to deserve it. I had already finished changing my shoes and was about to go to the class when an exclaim resounded behind my back.
Hey, you!
In front of me stood Ellie, her breath heavy, and still clad in the swimsuit.
When I already started to think you were normal, to pick it, girls.
Well, to be fair, there were guys there too. I decided to play the fool. I have no idea what you're talking about. Hi, by the way.
Stop it! Stop pretending! Stop pretending! I've just seen you at the pool!
At the pool? What would I be doing there? I don't even know how to swim. Well, I do actually, but not that well.
Stop crawling around!
She interrupted me and stepped closer.
If for some reason you think you'll come out clean.
Doubt I'll be cleaner than you. I looked down at her swimsuit.
What?
For a couple seconds, Ellie was trying to understand what was going on, but finally it dawned on her.
Your parents!
She covered herself with her hands and hid behind a locker. The passerby students had already been casting puzzled glances at her, but after this move started to circle us around at a respectable distance, okay? So swimming in a swimsuit is okay. Being in front of your guy classmates is okay. And here with me, it's not. It looked like Ellie just wasn't listening to me. She kept clearing daggers left and right like a cornered lion. You know you're not exactly in the right uniform for the school, right?
It's all your fault!
It looked like she started to understand the meaning of my words a little and even glanced at me from behind the locker.
You damn boy!
I wasn't peeping on you. I just passed by. Is it my fault a pool's there? It really was a bizarre place for a pool, actually.
Why were you watching then?
Ellie said, calming down a little. Just daydreaming. It was a lousy excuse. The bottom line was that I was still peeping. Okay, fine. I'm a pervert. Have it now. Nikolai born of the house Anokin, the father of lust, the king of hooligans, do-nothings, and future hobos. A light smile appeared in Ellie's face.
You're a strange one. Can't even be angry at your prophecy.
Is this a compliment? From the outside came a cold wind, and she shivered.
What's it? I forgive you, but for the first and only time.
Ellie ran back to the pool, her head cast down. I wondered how much did this incident damage her reputation as the queen of the school. Was she absolutely inviolable? That's okay. Would it take something worse for everyone to see that the queen was in fact naked? I think she was in fact naked. Giggling, I entered my class. The Ellie event lifted my spirits and distracted me from the worrying thoughts of the coming conversation with Kakome. Meanwhile, her desk was empty.
You're unusually happy early in the morning. Did something happen?
Can't hide anything from Kyosuke. Well, yeah, something did. If I were to say I saw Ellie in a swimsuit, he would probably have a heart attack.
And what was it? What was it?
Damn. Nothing important.
Keeping secrets, huh?
That's no secret. It just doesn't matter.
Sometimes it seems you're hiding classified information.
Really? Why?
Doesn't matter.
He replied, mugging me. Okay, whatever.
Hey, wait. That's all?
Yep. What else was there to talk about? I glanced around the class looking for Kakome, but she never came. Catherine wasn't there either, but I was surprisingly not too perturbed by her actions. Why can't I pronounce that word? I hate myself. Fuck me. I'll tell you if you win a bet with me. Kyosuke's eyes lit up.
What's the bed?
You have to keep quiet the whole day today.
You're always like that.
The bell rang and the teacher entered the class followed by Kagome. Oh well, that was a full day ahead. The lesson dragged on slowly, especially so because I was time and time again replaying yesterday's evening in my head. Kagome saw me. There's no way she didn't. And she most probably was the one to call the police. Let's say she had a reason for that, at least from her point of view. But if Kagome and this Akira Moriyuki really had nothing to hide, then why would she? It would have been much easier to come out and say they've never heard of Shinji. At least it would be less suspicious. Yeah. As soon as the lesson was over, I jumped up and rushed to Kagome. I couldn't let her leave. We need to talk. Kagome pouted and frowned.
About what?
She made a bad actress. She made a bad actress. Himitsu could teach her a thing or two. You know what I'm talking about. Don't put up an act, please. At least not in the class.
I don't understand.
Okay, as you wish. I don't really care what people will think of me. What about you? Kagome cast a quick glance at her classmates, but we hadn't caught their interest yet.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
She nodded something. Yeah, I think that was her voice. I don't know. A minute later, we were on the roof.
I'm listening.
Their arms crossed on her chest, chest, and the focused expression on her face left no doubt that she knew what the conversation was going to be about. Her hair beautifully fluttered in the wind, and her figure resembled an ancient Japanese warlord intently watching the course of a battle from a hill. Just a couple of hours prior, I thought that what the frig, nigga? Just a couple of hours prior, I thought there was no way to compare my lady Ellie to the peasant girl Kagome, but now I wasn't so sure.
Why?
She finally uttered with impatience.
Are we going to just stand here?
I woke up from the light stopper and said, "Can you explain your behavior yesterday?" Kagome's face seemed to be frozen in stone. Oh yeah, that was what happened last episode. We saw her when we was looking for the ones that was after her dad, and that's us because our dad's dead. Stupid frozen in stone, she resembled a statue. Okay, then I'll talk for you. Yesterday, you got scared by some suspicious guy trying to get into your restaurant when it was closed and called the police, right? Is this something you usually do? Keep this up and your establishment will lose every last client. They come to eat sushi, they end up in prison, right? And who is Akira Moriyuki? Your father, uncle, maybe husband? At the word father, Kagome's cheek flinched. She was utterly unable to hide her true feelings, and this detached mask was the only solution she knew. Not like it helped much. Father then, I see. Maybe we even know Akira Shinji. Oh, don't worry so much. I just need to talk to him about something. Kagome just kept standing there, looking at me intently. In a different situation, her cold glare would make me avert my eyes, but now I was too pumped up. Drop it already. What are you hiding? I'm not
hiding anything.
Kagome finally answered with a slight strain in her voice, and then it dawned on me. What if it wasn't about the particular Nikolai Anakin? What if she was just scared? Listen, don't think that I mean you have nothing to be afraid of. By the looks of it, I showed weakness, and Kagome's expression changed immediately.
Afraid of you? You wish? I have no idea what you're holding speeches here about. I just didn't want to have this virus in the class. That's why I came with you.
Oh, so that's how you talk now. I knew she was lying. And she knew I knew. The only question was if she had the confidence to stand her ground. And what was this seemingly quiet, unsociable girl hiding?
Okay, if that's all.
Kagome headed to the exit, but I appeared in her way. That's not all, Iwamura-san. Please do deign to explain yourself. Or do you want to say you do not live at the waterfront in the restaurant called Gifts of the Sea and you didn't see me there yesterday?
Exactly.
Her response was unexpectedly calm. We came to a dead end. I couldn't start torturing her now, could I? After you? I made a step back and gestured toward the exit. Kagome quickly, but not too fast, walked past without sparing me much as another glance. One thing was clear. She had something to hide. I was trying to find out what my father was doing in Kobayashi Corporation, following Ichino's lead, looking for this Akira Shinji. And in my searches, I ran into a classmate of mine, Kagome Iwamura, a shy, at least at first glance, a timid girl whose only dream was clearly for people to stop bothering her. Where's logic in that? Perhaps all of this indeed was a wondrous coincidence, and she acted like she did because she was so scared. I returned to the class and was immediately interrogated by Kyosuke.
Nick, where did you go with Iwamura?
Not your business, I snarled. I had exactly zero desire to make up excuses he would believe.
You've chosen an odd target, Casanova.
Kyosuke smirked and bumped me in the shoulder. Bug off. I snapped and he immediately disappeared into thin air. The next lesson started. No, I couldn't believe it. This couldn't be just a coincidence. Kagome was somehow connected to Akira Shinji, or at least knew something. I decided to follow her today. The school dragged on painfully slowly. During the breaks, I chatted with Kyosuke without letting my eyes off of Kagome. I didn't even go to lunch to keep her inside. But I didn't notice anything suspicious, and why would I? Finally, the school day came to its end, and the students started to get ready to go home. I quickly threw my books into the backpack and ran out of the class. The last person I needed to meet now was Himitsu, and she was certainly about to come. She would distract, hinder me, and then Kagome would inevitably slip away. I hid behind a lamppost on the other side of the street across to the school gates. The minutes of waiting felt terribly slow, my eyes darting to the clock over and over. According to it, barely any time has passed, but I couldn't escape the thought that Kagome knew what was going on and was long on her way home. Her tail left behind. I don't know what the fuck. At some point, the flow of students started to grow thinner. The last lesson ending good half an hour ago. Quite a girl she turned out to be. I lingered for a couple seconds more and quickly crossed the street. I needed to get back and check. Something could have held Kagome back. But there she was. Iwamura ducked out from behind the gates and headed towards the station in a calm step. I virtually froze in place, my nerves and muscles strained to the limit, unable to move. I couldn't let her notice me. I made a titanic effort and walked past Kagome, giving her just a fleeting glance. Meanwhile, she didn't look at me at all, as always. Well, that's better than nothing. At that moment, I didn't want to think that this whole time she was watching me, waiting for a mistake. Well, why did I even assume Kagome was partaking in these espionage activities of mine? If I was paranoid, it didn't mean I was being watched. The distance between the two of us was growing rapidly, like between two cars from a school exercise. But this exercise also had the common point of destination, the Gifts of the Sea restaurant. At least, that's what I wanted to believe. The fastest way to get to its district would be the subway, but it was apparent what station Kagome would use. No matter if I was playing a private investigator alone or if it was a game for two, she wasn't about to run. Meanwhile, I had no problem choosing a different route and getting to the station before Kagome. The Tokyo subway warranted a separate mention. Of course, it didn't look nearly as majestic as the Stalin Empire style of metro, and that's because the main point of the capital's transporting system was functionality. Stalinist architecture is distinguished by its scale and pomposity. Oh, okay. An enormous number of stations and line changes, hundreds of kilometers of railways in integration with the system of the suburban trains. Himitsu and I were getting to the school on foot, so I didn't use this human anthill all that often. I guess somewhere deep inside, it was terrifying me, as did everything Japanese. Starting with the fact that standing in a carriage, I was a good head and a half taller than the majority of people there. But this time around, the crowds of people were actually beneficial to me. It would be harder for Kagome to notice me even if she were to look. This time I didn't have to wait long. Iwamura appeared on the station's entrance right on the clock. Perhaps she really was held back by something in school. I boarded the carriage next to hers. So far, everything was going according to plan. We got off at the exact same station I was on yesterday. Gotcha. Now she wouldn't be able to talk her way out of it. The narrow streets were giving place to each other, and it was getting harder and harder not to lose sight of Kagome, considering that it was dangerous to get too close. A turn, another, and I found myself staring at local kids and a line of fish merchants. I stopped and looked around. Iwamura was nowhere to be found. For fuck's sake! I swore aloud, causing an array of disapproving askew glances from the old women at the stall. How ill-mannered of you. Oh.
How ill-mannered of you. How ill-mannered of you.
A familiar sigh resounded from behind. It was Kagome. How? But it was useless to say anything now, so I just waited for her to tell me something.
You know, I just could ignore you.
Kagome uttered thoughtfully. But you don't look like someone to be...
But you don't look like someone to be worried about. So I'm asking you straight, what do you want? What do you want?
She became herself again, the haughty and discontent expression back on her face. But how much did the situation change in a mere couple of hours? There on the roof I was interrogating her, convinced of my righteousness. And what now? I was following a schoolgirl, followed for quite a while in Japan, no less. If she were to go to the police, all of my problems wouldn't look as important compared to the responsibility of harassment and lawsuit on my hands. I've told you already, but I had to put a brave face on the sorry business. Or do you think I believed you just like that? A slight smile appeared on Kagome's face.
Persistent, are you?
Of course.
But I've already said everything I wanted.
And there went her cold disdain again. Why the performance then? You have just called the police like yesterday. How did you even notice me so quickly?
It's a habit. It's a habit.
A habit? A habit of what?
You wouldn't understand.
She suddenly lashed out. You don't get
bullied every single day.
Bullied? Why would anyone bully me? What are you even talking about? I flared up as well, and even noticing that Kagome grew sadder, didn't think much of it.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
She stomped her foot, and for some reason this very strongly reminded me of Himitsu. If only it were as simple with Kagome as it was with her. We aren't done yet.
We are.
Oh yeah, I really don't remember her voice. Kagome walked along the waterfront in a quick step, clearly heading to the gifts of the sea. I was trying not to lose her, lagging a couple meters behind. I'm not about to go anywhere, as you can see, I shouted, probably louder than I should have. She stopped abruptly and facing away from me, said with a strain in her voice.
What? What do you want from me? Why can't you just leave me alone? It's like my life isn't hard enough without you. You have no idea how ordinary people live.
What do I have to do with any of it? I'm actually a pretty ordinary guy. Kagome didn't respond. Listen, I understand it's not easy for you. Those hoodlums at school and all that. But believe me, I'm not like them at all. I'm not here to bully you. It's just so happened that you are most likely somehow connected to a matter that directly concerns me. Kagome didn't respond. God damn it. Do you think I'd mess with you if I had a choice? Yeah, sure, it's hard for you, and I'm just here having the time of my life. Or whatever. You don't want to talk? Fine. I turned around, started to quickly walk to the station.
Wait.
Kagome's voice, barely discernible behind the sound of the sea, reaches me. Well, I shoot a short question, walking back to her.
You first.
Iwamura said, stumpingly, avoiding my eyes. I first what?
First, you tell me what you need from Akira Moriyuki or Akira Shinji. What's your business with them?
At the moment, Kagome didn't worry me at all, so why couldn't I tell her the truth? Or at least part of it. I recently found out that Akira Shinji worked together with my father and one other man in Kobayashi Corporation. I have some questions to ask him.
And what are those questions?
Now Kagome was curious. Sorry, I don't want to say it's none of your concern, although maybe it is. I just don't want to put you in danger. To be honest, I didn't really give a damn about her. These thoughts evoke a bad feeling of shame somewhere deep inside of me. It's personal information. Oh, so picking my brain for info is okay.
Oh, so picking my brain for info is okay, but your highness may keep any secrets it pleases from the pitiful peasants?
No, that's not what I meant at all. Kagome went back to square one. She was so fixated on her own problems she exploded each time anything reminded her of them. Fine. I simply had no other choice. I recently found out that there were many things I didn't know about my father's work. Well, I didn't really know anything. I received a strange note. Strange people have been calling me in the middle of the night. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I managed to find father's old colleague. He recommended me to look for Akira Shinji, who is supposed to know more. And
A note? A call? What are you trying to drag me into?
I'm not dragging you into anything. Just a minute ago, you knew exactly nothing about any of it, and it were perfectly fine. Well, that was a dumb thing to say. I mean, you have nothing to fear. You're not connected to my father or me in any way.
Yes, but God, what have I done to deserve this? I am kind of connected to Akira, both Akiras.
I gave Kagome a surprised look. Was it really so simple? Water. That was so nice to get some gluggy water. But she looked like she'd already said everything she wanted and was now just intensely studying the waterfront pavement. Iwamura-san. Was that too formal? She did, however, respond.
Akira Shinji is my father. He really did work in Kobayashi Corporation, but then he was laid off and has to help my granddad now, Akira Moriyuki, in the restaurant.
And what's so secret about this that you couldn't tell me before?
Just because.
Kagome scowled. But why do you and your dad have different surnames? He and
my mother broke up when I was little, and I was living with her under her maiden name, but Mom died recently and Mom moved in with Dad.
I'm very sorry.
Yeah, sure you are.
Iwamura grinned. I mean, you're right, I didn't know your mother, don't know your father, or even really you, but how am I supposed to act now? Would you rather I kept silent instead of betraying fake sympathy? It's just a proper thing to do. Kagome wasn't ready to agree with anything ever, But she knew I was right here, so she just ignored my remark and kept talking.
I don't know I don't know anything about father's work, but he's not that old. I'm sure he'd find a job in his field, but
No one would hire him? I guessed. She nodded. This is all very strange.
well, thank you, Sherlock Holmes. Am I to be Dr. Watson?
She pulled the tips of her hair under her nose, making them look like a mustache. I involuntarily smiled. Well, if you want to be Watson, I'm okay with it. Onwards we go to the gifts of the sea.
No.
Kagome responded immediately, turning to a usable disposition. Why not?
You have nothing to do there. I will talk to my father and tell you everything afterwards.
Don't you think this whole thing concerns me a bit too?
What do you suppose you will even do there? You don't know anything yourself.
Well, that's true, but...
That's that then. See you.
Kagome, wait! I grabbed her by the hand and immediately felt her tremble. What was more unnatural to her, I wondered, the physical contact of being addressed by her first name. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Kagome froze in place, her arms thrown around herself. She even seemingly grew smaller. Come on, it's not that bad.
You aren't going to leave me alone, aren't you?
She asked quietly. As you can see...
Fine, let's go.
Okay, so I thought we're just gonna hear what she found out. But no, we're going with her. Reaching the gifts of the sea took me a bit more time than I expected. Probably because I yesterday mostly ran to the station. Did you really have to call the police yesterday? Kagome shrugged. We may have a common interest here, so don't act like that. She raised her head and gave me a surprised look.
What do you mean? Act like what?
Ah, whatever, forget it. I waved my hand so hard it accidentally pushed a cart that's been passing by, and a fat fish flopped down onto the road, slid down the pavement, and only miraculously didn't hit anyone. That's good. God damn it. I ran after it and fell into a fat lady in a kimono. The force of the collision pushed me to the side. Maneuvering between people, I finally caught up to the runaway fish. But when I came back to Kagome, the cart was long gone.
Are you alright in the head?
The girl burst out laughing with a genuine heartfelt laugh, momentarily forgetting about everything that happened between the two of us and anything that could still happen. Embarrassed, I turned away, feeling myself flush. Here, for you. I stretched the fish to Kagome.
A nice tuna? Thanks.
She knowingly examined the fish.
Just don't expect me to cook something out of it.
I didn't really.
You've got a friend for that.
Catherine? Catherine again?
Then one with red hair. Does she dye them or something?
How do you know about Himitsu?
By not being blind?
Well, I guess you must be good at cooking too.
Must be.
She gave a short reply and immediately added,
Here we are.
Today the restaurant of Kagome's grandfather turned out to be open and packed with people. Well, I didn't exactly deserve a treat, but I'm starving. I hope I can at least get some food at your place if I pay for it.
Wait here, I'll talk with father and come back.
Iwamura said in a tone impatient of contradictions. Your wish is my command, mistress. I sat down on the border stones, drooling at the smells that reached me from the restaurants inside. At first glance, Kagome didn't have it that bad. Her grandfather owned a restaurant. Her father had been holding a decently high position in Kobayashi Corporation until recently. Then why was she treated that badly? Even if you can't stand for yourself, the social status always helps. She wasn't at the level of the spoiled douches from her school, sure, but also nowhere near the bottom of society.
Oh, a penny for your fudge, young man.
Addressing me was a pink-cheeked, noticeably a bit drunk, quite short old man. Just waiting for someone here.
A girlfriend,
The smile on his face seemed to grow even wider. The narrow line of his eyes almost completely disappeared. His eyes was just gone. He became so fucking Asian that his eyes disappeared. It's weird, but that's how it is. You would say so, a friend in need.
Hey, young blood.
The old man puttered off, humming an old Japanese song under his breath. I caught myself thinking that I reacted quite calmly to him. Probably just because I currently had other things on my mind. I was already about to go into the gifts of the sea when its door flung open, Kagome running out of them, clearly agitated.
They took my father!
What? Who took him? She looked at me aghast, her breath wavy.
They took my father!
Who took your father? Took where? Her eyes flashed and Kagome made a step back.
It's you! It's all your fault!
Hold on a minute, calm down and think logically. If it's my fault, why would I put up all this act? But calling for the voice of reason was useless. Come on, think about it. I'd be the primary suspect on top of it. I was threatened too. I just wanted to talk. I didn't want to scare you. Sorry. I made a low Japanese bow. It could be that this happened to your father because of me. I don't know what reaction I expected, but Kakume's expression grew softer, although she still looked grim like Mount Fuji before a storm.
Grandpa says 2 decently dressed men came today.
I immediately remembered the man who followed me a couple days ago.
They asked to talk to my father. Grandpa know what they talked about. Grandpa doesn't know what they talked about. Then father left with them and told Grandpa not to worry. But how is that even possible?
I took a thought. Kagome was clearly right. To say there was a reason to worry would be to put it lightly. At the moment I was convinced entirely every event was linked. The note, the call, Ichinose, the kidnapping of Kakume's father. They were hiding something and covering their tracks well. But then why didn't they just kill me? Who would pay attention to the disappearance of an orphan schoolboy? No, there was clearly something more important going on.
We have to call the police,
Kagome said resolutely. If it's how you say, I don't think the police will help us in any way here.
What could you even know?
Think for yourself. We are talking about Kobayashi Corporation, understand? They've got the whole of Japan under control.
I'm going to call them. You can do whatever you want.
Try to stop her. Nah, defeat. Nah, that's fine. She can just call her if she wants. Oh, do whatever you wish. I was absolutely sure a call to the police wouldn't bring any results, but it simply was none of my business. Kagome returned virtually a minute later, infuriated.
They said they see nothing strange about it. That father left with those people on his own will. How could they?
What did I tell you? She cast an angry glance at me. Kobayashi Corporation, remember? The wrath of Kagome's face was slowly giving place to despair.
What do we do now?
Oh, so now it was us. Well, I really didn't want to focus attention on her choice of words now. Did your grandfather say anything else?
He's not young.
She replied after a long pause.
He understands many things wrong, if at all. If not for a couple other employees and me, the restaurant would long kick the bucket.
Really? It looks to be thriving from the outside. Kagome smiled sadly.
But still, it all started with you.
She said in a serious tone, although not reproachfully. You're mistaking the reason for the effect. Whatever is happening right now is just a consequence of something bigger. Me, you, your father, we are all just pawns in a game.
Do you even hear yourself? Pawns in a game? You're talking like... Oh no, I don't want anything to do with it. My life's not sunshine and rainbows already.
You may not be directly at fault here, but if only you had kept her away from us.
I was looking at her and just couldn't understand why she wasn't crying. If Himitsu were in her place, the tears would be flowing like a river at our first meeting at the station already. Even Catherine wouldn't have managed to hold on for this long. To tell the truth, I could hardly understand how I managed to remain seemingly cold-headed myself. Meanwhile, Kakome, yes, she was angry, she acted irrationally, and even foolishly. But at the same time, she persistently held her own. It may not have been a direct fight with a looming threat, not an attack with a drawn sword, but this reaction was more akin to a silent inviolability of an ancient cliff. Beaten by hurricanes, whipped by the winds, it would remain in its place even 1,000 years later. Without advancing even a single step forward and without surrendering a single centimeter, she was used to this life, and I simply climbed into her orderly world, bringing chaos and destruction. Fine. You're right. I shouldn't have got you involved in this at all. I turned around and was about to leave, but Kakome stopped me.
Oh no, you won't. If you got me involved, you should bear the responsibility.
Do you have something on your mind?
Yeah, I've got an idea. You were talking about Kobayashi corporations, right? That's where we'll start.
But how are you going to?
Meet me tomorrow in the park across from the office in downtown.
But...
And now I need to go to work.
How can you even think about these things at such a moment? I was genuinely surprised.
What about it? Who will help Grandpa if not me? Father wasn't of much help. He's good at lofty matters, to theoretical sciences, but when it comes to slicing cabbage...
Kakome let out a heavy sigh.
Tomorrow at noon.
Yeah, okay. She disappeared behind the door and I heard drunken shouts. Kakome-chan! Kakome-chan! The windows of my house burned with dim light. It was about time I changed the bulb. The front door creaked quietly, and a voice came from the kitchen.
Nico-kun!
Did she have some kind of detector tuned to me, I wondered?
We haven't seen each other all day.
She started as soon as I came in. Yeah, sorry, I saw your note. I had some things to take care of today. At this point, even I could tell how implausible my life sounded.
Come, dinner's on the table,
she said in her usual didactic tone, as if the events of the past week never happened. So, how are you doing? To be honest, I just wanted to forget this crazy day.
Fine.
She didn't even look at me. In a different situation, I would probably try to continue the conversation, find out why she was acting like that, but in this case, it was clear. How much could Himitsu go on like this? Well, it was entirely possible I'd be killed before she'd get him up. And we agreed to go on a date too. It's delicious. In reality, I wasn't even paying attention to what I was eating.
I'm glad,
she responded as indifferently as before. So... I loudly threw the chopsticks down on the table.
What?
Are you going to keep acting like that?
Acting like what?
You know.
I don't...
And then I realized it was just her way of being upset with me. And Himitsu really did have things to be upset about. On the other hand, I didn't have to report every step to her. I had a life of my own, a dangerous life sometimes, one she had no reason to be involved in. You know you're right. I rose from the table and strolled through the kitchen. Some things happened in the last several days. It was best to tell her now. Nobody knew what could happen next. And forewarned is forearmed. It could be that it wasn't the only one. I wasn't the only one in danger. That those close to me were too. Had nobody closer. I had nobody closer than Himitsu. You must have noticed. Himitsu looked at me unblinkingly with her big green eyes. I'm being watched, to be exact. I came into the view of some mysterious people or a company they didn't threaten me directly, but there's a reason to believe I'm in danger.
Nico-kun.
Wait, let me finish. It was hard to look into her eyes, even though for the first time in a long while I was telling the truth. It's all connected to my father's work, or at least I think it is. And, well, it's probably not even about me. There's something bigger going on, and I just ended up in somebody's way.
Nico-kun.
Himitsu stubbornly repeated, growing her ever gloomier.
I'll talk to Dad. He can help.
Don't tell anyone about this, I shouted unexpectedly, even to myself. She flinched. You shouldn't. These people, I immediately remembered the fruitless call to the police. They can do anything. They've got everything bought and paid for.
Nico-kun, but how can we?
I found a man who worked with my father before, and now he disappeared. He was taken because of me. Understand? I didn't want to tell about Kagome. Didn't want to drag Himitsu deeper in all of this. You may be in danger too.
If I'm with you, I'm not afraid of anything.
Himitsu, stop proving yourself to be a good waifu. You keep climbing the ranks. Bro, please don't get over Ellie. I want Ellie, please. She tried to smile. Are you kidding me? You say you've got nothing to fear with me? How can I protect you if I can't even defend myself? I had to calm down. Sorry, maybe it's not really that serious. I may be overthinking things. But in any case, don't tell anyone about this. Got it? Himitsu nodded. It's essential. She wouldn't tell anyone, even on pain of death.
Alright, I got it.
And most importantly, don't worry. I didn't want to scare you.
Nico-kun, I'm glad you told me the truth.
Himitsu came up and hugged me. I carefully caressed her hair and pressed her close. For a moment I felt burning desire for everything to be how it was for my former life to return. How could I ever think it was so boring? I just wanted to protect you. Himitsu trembled in my arms, crying. Come on, what is it?
It's just, why does it have to be you? You don't deserve any of this. Your parents, Kato-chan, know this?
Catherine, it's been a while since I thought about her. Yeah, I'm having the time of my life. I guess that's just my luck.
Can I?
Himitsu didn't have time to finish, interrupted by the telephone's ringing. In the silence of the kitchen, its sound seemed like the thunder of a coming storm, still distant but already inescapable. I need to answer.
Nico-kun.
She hugged me closer. Don't worry. They wouldn't call me every day. It's a secret organization, not a telephone station, you know. I gently slipped out of Himitsu's embrace and walked to the hall. Hello. My voice didn't tremble, but I felt strong inside. Runosuke-san. Nakoloi. I let out a sigh of relief. Yes, Runosuke-san, I'm listening. It was Himitsu's father. It's my daughter with you. Sometimes I really couldn't understand why he was letting Himitsu spend so much time at my place. Surely he could find a better son-in-law. Yes, should I call her? No. He responded after a short pause. Just tell her to go home. Okay, definitely. I hung up the phone and returned to the kitchen. Your father called. He wants to see you.
But I can't now.
What, going to guard me? Don't. I'll be all right. I'll close all the doors for the night.
Fine, but tomorrow I'll come early in the morning.
Oh yeah, about tomorrow? I scratched the back of my head and looked away. I've got some things to take care of. I mean, fine. Tomorrow I'm meeting with someone who can help me. We're meeting in the middle of the day in the city center. I'll be all right.
I'll go with you.
God, here you go again. That person is in a difficult situation right now. If we come together, it'll be suspicious. It won't take long. I'll call you as soon as I'm back.
Fine.
She pouted but conceded.
But remember, I'll be waiting.
Yes, ma'am. I saluted and smiled. Troubles with sleeping come from idleness was something my father used to say. When you're so exhausted at the end of this day, there isn't any strength left. to even brush your teeth. Insomnia is never a problem. Oh, so that's the end of the demo. Okay, I'm actually really stoked. I want to know what happens. And the only thing it says is it's coming out this year, like 2019. So I'll keep my eye open and look out for Love, Money, Rock and Roll when it comes out. And I'll definitely make a let's play playthrough. Let's play. I'll play it on the channel. And tell me in the comments if you want me to play the full game on the channel. And now I want to say thanks for watching. It's been really nice making this video for you. I hope you want to like, subscribe, watch my other videos on the channel, and comment about how much of a fucking faggot I am. I already said that once probably, but now I say it again.